Here, as $100,000. Once you have the money, leave James Contractual. As the words settled, a stack of bills was thrown in front of Mia Evans. Snapping out of her thoughts, Mia calmly took a sip of her coffee, then looked up at the woman who could have easily been old enough to be her mother. What did you call me? Say it again if you dare. Mia had barely uttered a word when Grace Barry slammed her hand on the table, her eyes shooting daggers at Mia. No woman liked to be reminded of her age, especially by someone younger. Did I get it wrong? Should I be calling you Grandma? Mia propped her head with one hand and blinked innocently at Grace, feigning misunderstanding. You, Grace, furious, stood up and pointed at Mia, her mouth ready to unleash a torrent of words, but her expression changed abruptly. Grace quickly moved to James, who had just walked in, holding his arm and pointing accusingly at Mia. James, she insulted me. Mia turned around to witness the scene and immediately covered her eyes. The sight was just too much to bear. James, do you have some sort of fetish? Mia exclaimed, still shielding her eyes. As old enough to be a mom. How desperate are you? Hearing Mia's words, James frowned. Mia, stop talking nonsense. When did I ever? So, it's fine for you to fool around, but I can. Speak the truth. Mia glared at James, feeling aggrieved. Seeing Mia's reaction, James looked rather smart. Mia, I know it's hard for you to accept, and I know you still have feelings for me, but there's no hope for us. I'm in with Grace now. It's best if you move on and stop. Mia interrupted, not willing to hear another word. What did he mean by her not being able to move on? James, are you delusional? I have standards, and someone like you, the farther away from me, the better, Mia exclaimed, as she was about to leave. James, following words almost made her choke in disbelief. If you can, find a boyfriend. I could introduce you to someone. No need to play hard. To get with me, it only repels me further. Mia stopped, crossed her arms, and walked back to James, giving him a sarcastic look. Can find a boyfriend? Let me tell you, I can find one anytime. Even get married if I wanted to. Then go ahead. I'd love to see how you lie your way out of this one. James scoffed, looking utterly dismissive. Fine, just watch, Mia declared, her gaze scanning the cafe. It landed on a stranger not far away. Hesitating for a moment, she gathered her courage and approached him. Sir, would you marry me? Mia stopped in front of the man, her radiant smile illuminating her delicate face, making sure her question was loud and clear. Although she appeared confident, she felt nervous. There was no guarantee he'd play along. The man wore a white shirt, 2 buttons undone at the top, revealing a delicate collarbone. A pair of black trousers emphasized his tall, straight legs. He looked slightly annoyed, but for a moment, when his gaze met Mia's, he seemed taken aback. Yet he recovered quickly. Just when Mia thought he'd ignore her, he coolly asked, "What's the reason?" Because Mia hesitated. Then with a sly smile, she tiptoed, wrapped an arm around his neck, and whispered in his ear. As soft whispers and good at seducing. Care to try? Despite her calm tone, the surrounding silence made her words clear to those nearby. It was a blatant flirtation. Everyone was on edge, awaiting the man's response. After what felt like an eternity but was only a moment, the man smiled. He pulled Mia closer, and his deep voice resonated. Perhaps we could try. Dylan. As soon as the man spoke, the onlookers around them couldn't help but gasp in surprise. Mia stared at him, her face filled with astonishment. Clearly, she hadn't expected him to agree with her proposal. Mia, you really something, James said, taking the scene before him. He paused briefly before sneering. Finding a random man to put on a show with you. Can you be any more shameless? Before James could finish, he noticed the man holding Mia was glaring intently at him. That gaze was filled with an intense, deep radiance, anger slowly building. Even though the man hadn't said a word, James felt an unmistakable chill creeping up from his feet. The weight of the pressure made it hard for him to breathe. However, judging by the man's attire, which was a simple shirt and trousers, James thought he was anyone significant. This realization eased James' fears slightly. You glaring at me. Did I say something wrong? James taunted the pair. Mia, a woman like you indeed matches a man like him. Anger bubbled inside Mia when she heard James' words, but she knew she couldn't lash out because she wouldn't give them the satisfaction. Yes, a woman like me deserves such an excellent man. We're not even fit to tie my shoes, Mia retorted, leaning into the man's embrace. A mocking smile played on her lips as she coldly stared at James. And remember, I dumped you today. You LLC. Infuriated, James moved quickly, raising his hand to slap Mia. But before he could, The man caught his wrist. The man tightened his grip, almost crushing James' wrist. It won. He until James' face twisted in pain, and he started pleading that the man finally let him go. Stumbling backward, James could be been supported by Grace, who was beside him. Yet, when he fell toward her, she dodged out of the way, causing him to crash to the ground. Touch her again, and I'll make you pay, the man warned, looking down at the disheveled James. His cold voice was filled with fury, which further intimidated James. Before James could even rise, the man turned and led Mia out of the coffee shop by her hand. Surrounded by laughter and whispers, James watched their retreating figures. Rage consumed him, but he couldn't. He let it show. All he could do was clench his fists to control his anger. He thought he would never let Mia go. With gritted teeth, James made this silent promise to himself. Outside the coffee shop, Mia quickly withdrew her hand from the man's grasp. "Thank you for today," Mia said, nodding gratefully at the man in front of her. If he had played along, James and Grace would surely have continued to humiliate Mia. No. At least, that problem was solved. The man didn't. He responded to Mia as thanks. Instead, he looked intently at her and asked, "How old are you?" "My age. I just turned 18 this year," Mia replied with a smile, not thinking much of the question. When the man heard her answer, a glint of joy flashed in his eyes. He swiftly grabbed her wrist again and pulled her into his car. "Sir, where are you taking me?" Mia asked, looking at the man who was now focused on driving. Her instincts told her that this man was harmful, especially after he had just helped her. Although Mia was overly cautious around him, she was still curious about where they were going. On hearing Mia's question, the man glanced at her and said calmly, "To register for marriage." "What?" Mia exclaimed in shock as soon as she heard the man's words. She was in disbelief. After a few moments of processing what he said, Mia hurriedly tried to explain. "Sir, I was just joking with you earlier. Please don't take it seriously. We known each other for less than half an hour. I don't even know who you are. How could I possibly marry you?" Vincent Dillon, the man responded calmly, adjusting the steering wheel as he listened to Mia's frantic words. "That's my name. But just knowing your name isn't enough," Mia protested. "We barely know each other, and there's no emotional foundation between us." Before Mia could finish, the car pulled smoothly to a stop outside City Hall. Vincent, with one hand resting on the back of Mia's seat, stared intently at her. "We can get to know each other over time," he countered, his voice deep and magnetic. "Feelings can be cultivated after marriage." His captivating voice, paired with his irresistibly handsome face, was incredibly seductive. "But I am only 18. Mia swallowed hard, her voice wavering. "I don't mind," Vincent replied with a hint of a smirk. He then opened the car door and led Mia into City Hall. Half an hour later, they emerged with 2 marriage license certificates in hand. "Did I just get married like this?" Mia gazed at the certificate, still in disbelief. She couldn't fathom how she had just blindly followed Vincent into City Hall and gotten a marriage license, especially considering she was even of legal age if she were in the town where she was born. It was all so surreal. Mia glanced up at Vincent, blinking in confusion. "Sir, did we really get married? Is this a dream?" Her natural beauty was enchanting enough, but her current expression only added to her allure. Even though Vincent had seen countless beautiful women over the years, he found himself utterly entranced by Mia. "Don't ever make that face in front of other men," Vincent warned, leaning down to Mia. He then snatched the marriage license from her grasp. "Which school do you attend?" Without thinking, Mia replied, "Liberty Film College. Go back and pack your things." But before Mia could say more, Vincent decisively ushered her back into the car and drove her straight to the entrance of Liberty Film College. Vincent got out of the car and opened the door for Mia, as he was about to accompany her inside. His phone rang from his pocket. He answered, and as he listened, his brow furrowed deeply. "I'll be there shortly," Vincent replied in a grave tone before hanging up. He gave Mia an apologetic look. "Something came up. Pack your stuff, and I'll pick you up later." "Okay," Mia replied, still in a daze. It won. He until Vincent's car disappeared from sight and she snapped back to reality. The day had been a whirlwind, from discovering her long-time boyfriend as affair to impulsively marrying a handsome stranger. It felt like a dream. Shaking her head, Mia tried to push away the thoughts and enter the college gates. She had always been someone to go with the flow. Now that things had turned out this way, she decided to just accept it. Besides, the man she married was incredibly handsome. If anyone was at a loss, it was him. She felt like she had struck gold.